Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
It is your first month on the job, so I just want to start off by asking you, how are you going to do things differently from your predecessor?
I'm not sure it's about doing things differently, but I will tell you that we have this motto we've been talking through. It's long live golf. And we are celebrating the game of golf. We're celebrating the opportunity that we're in a business that's growing, with a fandom that's actually growing and increasing, which is incredible and inspiring. We have this kickoff right here, or tee off to our season in Riyadh, which is a showcase of showcases. We have the best golfers in the world. We have the Backstreet Boys playing tonight. It's about as fun as it can possibly be on a golf course.
So talk to me about why you brought the tournament to Riyadh. This is the actual first tournament, LIV tournament in Riyadh. You mentioned Backstreet Boys, but how is this going to appeal to the broader audience?
Well, first off, LIV is very different from a golf tournament that you might have experienced and may have known. We bring the fun to the game. And so if you were here with us, which I hope you are next year, you would find an incredible fan zone, which is teeming with families and interactive VR and AR games. There's a bit of a carnival. We have incredible food trucks. There's music and a stage where you have incredible DJs and bands like the Backstreet Boys coming on tonight. And then you have the best golfers in the world. And so we want to bring them to the four corners of the world. And in Riyadh, you have one of the most important cities in the world. And so this is the center. Yeah. And we're thrilled to be here.
Yeah. Well, many of our viewers watching this interview will be interested to see where the discussions with the PGA are going. And we know that the PGA Tour Commissioner actually did go to the White House yesterday. He had a meeting with President Trump. And on the back of that meeting, he did say that Trump has brought PGA closer to a deal with LIV. Well, speaking to you right now, what is the status of those conversations? How close are we in reality to a deal?
You know, we have been for, of, and about growing the game of golf. And there's so many new and exciting leaders. If you look at Derek Sprague at PGA of America and Mark Darbin at the R&A, and I'm new at LIV, and I know the PGA is looking for a new executive as well to work alongside Jay. And I think that provides an opportunity for us all to take a step back, appreciate where we are in this moment of time, and move forward. The fact that the leader of the free world, the President of the United States, thinks that golf is this important that he can engage makes us really happy and validates how important this game is. And I still believe it's one of life's great teachers, and just as important as we could possibly find today in bringing this game together. So any news that brings us closer to that, I think, is really welcome news for all the golf fans around the world.
Have you spoken to the president directly yourself?
I have not, no. In a few weeks, we'll be in Miami playing at Doral, which is a Trump course, and I imagine he'll make an appearance there. But you know, in these first 30 days, I've had the time of my life, getting to know these incredible stars like Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau. We have the best players from around the world. That's been an experience. Getting ready for this incredible event season, kicking off in Riyadh, and getting our feet under us and planning for the future.
Now, I know you're not in position to give us the contours of the deal, but is it your expectation that if a deal does come to fruition, that it would allow for more coexistence between LIV players and the PGA Tour? Is it your expectation that ultimately LIV players could participate in the PGA Tour without being penalized?
You know, our focus right now is on making sure we take the best players in the world to the best locations in the world. It's a deal and a construct that we've all been working on for some time, and we're all focused on the same goals and objectives, and that is to grow this game, put as many of the greatest players on the biggest stages of the world. And while I'd love to walk chapter and verse into the deal, I will tell you that anything that's good for this game is good for LIV, and we're thrilled that there's progress being made.
Yeah. One recent development earlier this week, the U.S. Open became the first major to actually create an exemption for LIV golf players. Do you expect other majors to follow suit as well?
You know, very appreciative of Mike Wan and his leadership at the USGA. We heard today from Mark Darbin, who runs the RNA and the Open Championship, and they will be following suit. And at least the early conversations with Derek Sprague at the PGA of America are very positive as well. So it seems as if the headwinds are becoming tailwinds. There seems to be this incredible arc of momentum, and whether that's our deal with Fox in the US or our deal with ITV in the UK, or all the incredible partners we've had. Madden is our title partner here, and Bahri just came on board as well, and Roshan. So we're starting to get momentum in terms of the entire business. So it's quite expected in terms of where we're heading.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those broadcasting arrangements, and obviously the PIF have put in billions into LIV. Revenues, a big question mark from here onwards. To what extent do you think those types of broadcasting deals, those arrangements, are all going to be additive to your future revenue flow?
I'm here for one reason, and that's because spending time with His Excellency Yasser Al-Rumayyan is a man of vision and passion for the game of golf. He's got an incredible love and understanding of what's to come. And the investment to put this many incredible star players together will result in an incredible business. And so the foundational years have been built, and now we're ready to grow this business. So it's a really special moment in time right now.
Yeah, beyond broadcasting arrangements, what are your priorities for growth from here onwards?
Well, there are different parts of the business. We're a bit different from a traditional golf in that we have teams. And so Bryson DeChambeau, for example, has a team called the Crushers. Brooks Koepka has a team called Smash. Phil Mickelson has the High Flyers. So you have different teams. Dustin Johnson, the Aces. So for us, one part is how do we build value in those teams? And a lot of that will be driven through sponsorship and merchandise. On the league side, it's a pretty traditional model. It's broadcast and sponsorship, and then event revenue, which are ticket and hospitalities. So it's a pretty similar business to what I'm accustomed to in the U.S. sports, and we're looking to build on the foundation that we have already.
And on the talent side, do you have any plans to bring in any new star players to the LIV League?
Well, we have a bit of a constellation of stars now. I mentioned a few before, but Waco Neiman is another one. Tyrrell Hatton might be the hottest golfer in the world, and we signed 3 of the top 5 talented players in the world to come on this year. So for us, we have a constellation of stars. You don't have to look too much further than our leaderboard to see what's happening, and it's a very special time.
I want to ask you about other jurisdictions. Obviously, we started off the interview speaking about the PGA, but I'm curious to see whether you've set your sights on expansion in Europe as well. A couple of months ago, Bloomberg reported that you were considering a partnership or a tie-up with the DP World Tour. Can you elaborate on that, or at least on some of your European expansion goals?
I very much appreciate your homework and your questions and your diligence. It's very difficult to, as you can imagine, to talk about ongoing negotiations or not in all of these leagues or aspects. DP World Tour, it's been well documented. We have some work to do together, and we'll work on that and make sure we make good headway. In the meantime, we have an incredible event at Valderrama, which will be amazing in Spain, and then at JCB in the UK. And so we're well entrenched in Europe, and how we all figure out how this ecosystem coexists and how these puzzle pieces fit together, I think will unfold over the next 12 to 18 months.
Well, let me just put the question to you then. If we were having this interview in a year's time, what would you deem as a marker of your success? What are the achievables that you would like to get to over the next 12 to 18 months?
I imagine you don't mean just a good night's sleep and a happy smile, but that'll be the result of a lot of positive momentum going forward. We have a wonderful team here working very hard, so I would certainly like to see increases in our viewership in the US and around the world. We actually are in almost 800 million homes around the world in 800 countries and territories, and so how we're penetrating that, how many viewers is very important. I'd like to see the game of golf continue to grow. That's one of our core attributes in terms of how we, and KPIs, how we look at this is, can we help grow the game of golf? And then from a revenue standpoint, I have some very aggressive goals and targets that we are very focused on in terms of sponsorship and tickets. And so I'd imagine if a year from now, I imagine I'd be having a big smile after a very good night's sleep, talking about some very successful wins.
Yeah, do you think the world of golf is doing enough to attract the younger audience these days?
Well, you don't have to look too much further than our events. I mean, it is so much fun to come here. So I think I do. Our teams and our stars are so engaged in the communities. We put so many incredible events on to engage the local community around the world. But more importantly, you cannot help but have fun when you step on site. This is not like walking into a library. This is quite more like going to an event with your friends. There's music and there's action and there are DJs. It is just an absolutely integrated, experiential, and emotional upswing.